here in the top right-hand corner of Daybreak, we have our pink Terran player from the Team Prime. It's Maru. His opponent down here in the bottom left-hand corner, the always bar-coded red Zerg player from Evil Geniuses, Jaedong.
Been watching a lot of JD's games lately, and this is the matchup I'm actually most interested to see him in because I want to see his Infestor play. I mean, man, Jaedong just is looking so good lately with like his Ling Bling Muta play, but I really want to see him start to, I'm like excited for it because everybody else just, actually, all right, let's first off say why it's awesome to watch Jaedong. It's because he doesn't play like all the other Zergs out there right now. He like waits to go Infestor a lot of times until Broodlords, until he gets that end game tech.
And he's still not the kind of player who's going to be like, okay, we'll get like 8 or 9 Broodlords and we'll get 37 Infestors and then we'll call it a day. It's more like, okay, we need the Infestors to complement the army. We need to absorb some shots with Infested Terrans, Fungal to lock down a couple of units if Marines try to run up. But then otherwise, it's a very, very unit composition.
Yeah, he'll actually like continue, even with Mutas, even though he has Hive Tech, he makes like a reasonable quantity of the Broodlords and then sticks heavy on the Ling Bane. He loves his Zerglings. I enjoy it because it's a very different style than what we're seeing so much of nowadays. Ever since Stefano realized Lings with upgrades and Infestors are really, really, really good.
All right, well, we'll see what strategy he goes after here. I'm especially interested in the mid game here because that's where I think it's going to be very telling because you mentioned before the Ling Ling Muta play that Jaedong likes to use. That's also the moment he has very good creep spread. So it's the moment when he has absolute dominance of the map and he's always all over the place. Little packs of Lings here, Banelings over here in defensive places, attacking with Mutas over at the third. And if Maru can deflect that, I think he has a very good chance in this game as we move towards the late game. We saw that Jaedong was exploitable in the late game. Granted, it was a ZVP yesterday, but against Choya.
Yeah.
So if Jaedong can kind of, win out that mid game and build momentum his way, that's where I think this game's going to be taken.
Yeah. Another thing Maru's going to have to watch out for here is the ambushes. Jaedong's a lot like Stefano in that regard. He really likes ambushing his opponents and kind of setting things up, waiting for you to move out, and then rolling in all of a sudden when you're not looking with 7 quadrillion Banelings and you just die. So I mean, Maru, he's this really crisp player. He definitely covers his bases on everything. We need to, of course, see, Marines running to those corners of the map, making sure there's no units hiding. And Maru, I haven't seen him using drop play as much, but I remember he was so good at it when I first started watching him. He was just dropping all the time. So, and I feel like that's something you could really pull Jaedong apart on a map like Daybreak.
All right. Well, Maru going after a 1-max gasless fast expand into double gas afterwards. Pretty common stuff. Reactored Hellions after this, and then the real tell will be what he puts up afterwards if we're going to see that. Something like that Hellion. Oh, I love that, though. Very nice touch. Maru, of course, floating that barracks out there because he didn't necessarily need to put down a reactor quite yet or anything along those lines. Gets out there with 2 Marines because if there's an Overlord that's floating above this area, he just killed it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the case. And now he knows that there's nothing there, so he can stage his units there without fear.
Exactly.
400 minerals, though, for Maru. He's had it for about 30 seconds now, really waiting for him to do something with that, whether it be 2 barracks, a command center, something.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, he wasn't making Marines for a long time there. So, an additional 100 resources taken out of that, plus the factory on the side. But it still looks like he may be eyeing up that 3 command center version of this before he gets any sort of a starport.
Throws down the reactor on the barracks. You definitely don't want to delay that for a second. But I'm waiting for that command center. And Overlord comes in from the side, gets a little bit of scout. Did it manage to see the factory?
Oh, but it is going to see the command center.
Yes, it is. And that is just so nice for JD.
Okay, well, where does Maru go from here, though? Like we said, does he want to follow this up with a big Reactored Hellion plus a single Banshee kind of attack? Back on Jaedong's side of things, he's going after the 6-minute third hatch, and no gas has been taken so far. How many queens does he have? Already 4, making a 5th with his 3rd base. And this has been a very fun brand of play that I've seen out of Jaedong a lot. Prioritize that creep spread. I know I sound like a broken record. I love good creep spread. I think it's amazing. I think it's undervalued. I think that the top Zerg players that really focus on it have had a ton of success because Jaedong has had scenarios where he's been able to just outright deny 3rd and 4th bases just because he's got creep blocking it.
Yeah, no, it's completely the case. And JD, he's got speed right now too, right?
No, he just got his. He's just
he didn't
getting
take
his
any
gas.
gases.
Yes, he's taking triple gas after the 5 queens.
Okay. So this is even a little more intense. One of the builds I've been seeing him go for lately, which I'm really thinking about starting to use, he gets quick speed and like a 6-minute, 6:10 third. We are seeing him go for that 6-minute third, but even more risky this time as he's opted for the additional queens and no gas. And you know, that's actually, it's a pretty good play because it's Daybreak. You're much more likely to see Hellions on this map than you are any sort of Marine push, so it's safe to have the queens instead of the Lings.
All right, now Maru is playing the very greedy bio version of this. He's gone for the 3 command centers into double engineering base, and this isn't going to necessarily, you know, be risky for him as far as taking any aggression or attacks. Obviously, we can see what Jaedong's going for, but what this is going to do is this is going to allow a Zerg player to basically play completely unimpeded. Jaedong has been able to do whatever he wants, same as Maru. So it looks like we're just going to have a long delay for a while unless these Hellions get in there and do some damage, which it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do so.
Oh, but a little hole because of the queen, but the spine crawler definitely gets a lot of damage in. I don't know if we're going to see a single unit here lost.
No.
Yeah, nothing at all. 4 Hellions thrown away for just a small amount of information. Definitely a victory there for Jaedong.
Okay, well, Maru decides, okay, I just lost a lot of forces. I may be susceptible right now. What do? Build 4 more barracks. And with 5 barracks, double upgrades on the way, his mid-game is going to be incredibly powerful. So
yeah,
this is a pretty good answer to what Jaedong usually does. Certainly, he's going to know his opponents. He'll know what sort of strategies he goes for. Pretty hard to not know this guy, but you know what I'm saying.
I love as you say that you're like, it's pretty good against what Jaedong likes to do. Baneling Nest appears on the production tab.
Yeah, exactly. But that's precisely
that
it, though.
was precisely the timing.
Right, because Maru now is like, okay, I'm not going to have to worry about anything for the next 3 minutes or something like that. I don't have to worry about you poking. Yes, I'll have to worry about, you know, being able to hold on to my 3rd base, of course, which is, it looks like that's what's happening. He'll make enough units to do that, as he is going to be protected here, even if it is, you know, a little bit interesting because the Serpents get a pretty good scout. But, you know, he just wants to build up so that he has such a massive quantity of units that he can crush what his opponent throws at him and be able to reproduce very quickly.
Yep. You're absolutely, I mean, and the reproducing is really the biggest part because he loves the Banelings. He loves lots of Banelings in his composition, but something that's very different here is that he is going for the Infestation Pit before Aspire. And as we were talking about, Jaedong loves Aspire into the later Infestors. We could see like a rapid thing to Hive here because he does see that Maru.
I think that's very possible, yeah.
Yeah. But it would be like, that would be so fast. Before 1-1's even finished, he could start his Hive. I mean, that's crazy talk.
Yeah, I could see it.
It's definitely possible, yeah.
Yeah, I could see it happening on this map,
especially with like these you know, these new players. They are so willing to try new things.
Broodlords are really powerful here too. I mean, because, you know, we've mentioned this before. If you have good creep spread and you have a decent amount of infestors that can back this up, these little narrow running paths, even though there's several of them, and even though there's a lot of places you can duck units around, they're all easily watched by just a couple of Broodlords, and you can really lock down an engagement with just good fungals and a couple of Broodlords in those positions.
Yeah, you're completely right. But it doesn't look like Jaedong's going to be going for that quite now. He did start Pathogen Gland, so we'll see infestors here in about 5 or 6 seconds, and he started 2-2 as well as the Baneling speed. So he's got a lot of tier 2 upgrades on the way, and he's likely going to be throwing huge swaths of armies at Maru.
Maru's just not prepared for these circling counterattacks, too. I mean, these are expendable units for Jaedong. He's going up to a 4th base. He doesn't really care about these. Of course, he doesn't want to lose 30 at a time or anything, but he can lose 10 here, 12 there, something like that, and be just fine.
This is what you were talking about earlier, Kevin. Look at the creep spread right now out of Jaedong.
It's gross.
I mean,
look at that. We're 12 minutes in. We are 12 minutes into this game.
You don't see creep spread onto this side of the map the entire game often on Daybreak.
Yeah. This is ridiculous. He's going to get to that 4th base before Maru even has a possibility of putting a command center down there. This is exactly what I was talking about.
I will say something about Jaedong that really, really impresses me. I think he prioritizes his creep spread to a point where it will actually hurt him, but he's making it that he never accepts anything less because he knows that this is the one thing that every player can be improving on right now that they're not doing. And, I mean, I've seen him sit. He loses his whole army. He's at 120 supply. These Lings are going to fall back from these Hellions, by the way. He'll be maxed out. He'll have 60, or he'll have 60 larvae, Kevin.
Yeah.
And tons of money, and he won't make it because he's too busy spreading creep. He never lets himself miss a creep spread.
All right, well, we can see that he is being very effective with that. This Viking has paid for itself. 2 kills now as it's cleaning up a couple of overlords across the map. Now with infestors here, this army does become substantially stronger.
Oh my goodness.
Look at these creep tumors there, active creep tumors down at the bottom of the map, spreading through the middle there. I think he's got like 11 morphing in at once. Now, yeah, it was 7 there just a second ago too. Nice fungal growth.
Yeah.
Picks off a couple of Hellions there in the middle. May want to put on some pressure here in just a second, but we're 14 minutes in, and 70% of the map is covered in creep.
Gutsiest Viking ever. He's like, come at me, bro. Oh, Maru. Only one fungal. This is only going to take one fungal. That was beautiful. He just knew that Maru wouldn't be looking because the Viking was flying. He was like, okay, you're not going to kill me. And then he was like, actually, I'll only kill you with one fungal.
All right.
If
Well,
you guys don't know, it normally takes 2 because the Viking will start running.
right, most players will drop down a fungal, then a couple infested Terrans, then fungal again. And that's good if a unit is running away from you, but the unit won't automatically start to move unless it's being attacked, and it has to have infested Terrans attacking it. So good heads-up play by Jaedong. He's even going to save his queen here. Now, the army from Maru is very strong. And in a heads-up engagement, it will require perfect positioning out of Jaedong in order to engage this. But what's going to give him perfect positioning? Creep spread, ladies and gentlemen. And if Jaedong wins a big engagement here, because he's got a very low quality of army right now, 89 Lings, a few Banelings here and there, some Baneling mines, yes, which are very nice, and that could turn around things. But we're not exactly talking about a massively strong army at the moment.
This is the kind of thing that breaks the game, actually, how good Jaedong's creep spread is right now. Because you're not supposed to be able to, in the mid-game, be able to be this far forward and fight on creep with Banelings. Your unit should be too slow. Your Banelings should not be able to catch those Marines. You're supposed to be off creep. In this situation, Jaedong in a second here, guys, is going to be fighting on creep.
Yes.
Right in front of his opponent's base, and that's going to make it, he's going to have an unprecedented ability to replenish his army after it dies.
Okay, so Maru, he scans, and it doesn't look like he's actually seen the Bro Zergling that was sitting underneath, but we have a big Zergling counterattack on the right-hand side, and that's going to allow Jaedong to get even more units in position here. He kills off yet more workers. He's killed 17. He's actually lost 0, and he's gunning it for Broodlords. His Greater Spire's done in just 20 seconds, and on top of that, of course, he's already got Corruptors being made. Oh, God, there are Banelings right underneath this army. Oh. He actually doesn't pop them up.
Wait until a better time to do it. There was only one Baneling there, I guess.
Oh, God, they're running right back over. Oh, wow. Okay, anyway, so... Man, you can get really hung up on those sometimes.
I'm sorry, when it's game 8 and we're standing on top of Baneling bombs.
You're going to scream about it.
I might get,
I might get excited. Well, Jaedong has a ton of resources now. He's obviously, again, got a very low-quality army. A ton of Lings out, a few Corruptors, a few Infestors, one Broodlord for now, but that's it. And he's going to rely on being able to pull his opponent out of position and duck in from multiple angles in order to win this engagement.
Well, it's not going to work too well coming forward with small groups of Marines like this. There are spine crawlers in position. Here comes the Ling counterattack to the third base. The main action, though, is going to take place with this poking damage from Maru. We'll see if he can close it out here. He's got to get some serious damage in on Jaedong, who right now is on a 5-base economy.
It looks like Maru's going to try and drop around. I think that's a good decision for him. Zergling's actually going to make their way in, and I think they're going to be able to clean up these Marines at the same time. They're going to be able to deny that base of mining yet again. So Maru, with a basically mined out main, with an almost mined out natural, it's going to be down to basically a 1-base economy.
Oh, is he going to bait them? He could bait them with the Zerglings into the Banelings, but no, we're just freaking out way too much over that. The Zerglings are still harassing, by the way, killing off some supply depots right now, and they will finally be dealt with.
Okay, well, here comes Maru again, and this is an undefended base, so that's pretty good. Looks like, oh, those Marines just keep going directly. It looks like they were able to actually clean up 2 of the Banelings, so not too much damage going to be suffered from those.
And the drop is successfully dealt with. Jaedong has, at this point, a lot of gas, a lot of minerals as well, just tons of money in general. Bringing in 1,700 to his opponent's 1,100 for minerals, almost triple the gas, however, of Maru, which is just an incredibly large advantage with 95 workers to just 42. This is, I mean, that's an insane economy.
Yeah, it really is. Now, Maru certainly has the bank of resources, but his infrastructure could stand to be just a little bit better. There we go. He's producing 3 starports right now, and that is certainly going to help him. Looks like Jaedong going to start forcing this army back, of course, but now he's on creep, and he's going to be on there for a few more seconds, even if the creep tumors are cleaned up. He catches the tanks completely unsieged. Fungals and Banelings just obliterate that army. That was one of the most one-sided engagements I think I've ever seen, and Jaedong demolishes everything that Maru had on the field.
I'm speechless, Kevin.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely
The reinforcements coming up for Maru are going to actually do some pretty good damage here. They kill a couple of the Broodlords, but look at the forces already that Jaedong was producing behind this. He's instantly remaxed, and he still has 2,700, 1,900 on the field. I apologize that we sound like we're really, you know, I mean, we're only talking about Jaedong at the moment, but he is incredibly far ahead.
Yeah, he is dominating right now, playing so incredibly well. And, I mean, we got to give a lot of that to his creep spread. He's just made it so difficult for Maru to do anything. Maru has wanted to open up options and opportunities, and he's managed to do it to a small degree. Try to make something happen there, though. And this is what we were talking about, man. Those banelings are just so fast on creep. There was nothing that Maru could do against that.
Yeah, that was amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, I sounded like a broken record in the past, but hopefully you now know that is the power of creep spread.
Well, Maru is now mining off of just 2 bases. And Jaedong, still running off of 5, is just looking quite poised to take this game. Even throwing down the corruption on the metafacts, I love it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, at this point, though, it's a pretty foregone conclusion. It looks like Maru, he has enough forces to make a big stand here in a second, and he is going to be able to successfully engage off of creep. So with good positioning, maybe he can turn this back, but man, there's so many forces out here. I don't know how he's going to do it.
This is it. Fungal growth going down on the left-hand side. Banling's coming forward, and there are so many infestors here.
Yeah.
Jaedong has used the infestors beautifully through this set. I was saying how I wanted to see it, man, and I think we did. Trapping everything for that one Banling connection just honestly has put him so just an impossible amount to catch up without some serious mistakes.
And he's remaxing on 8 Ultralisks right now, so he's going to wait.
Any Marauders?
He's going to wait until the Ultras are up? I don't believe so. No, there's not.
It's going to be so difficult for Maru, who is currently pumping out more and more tanks, which are just not helpful versus Ultras. He's got 8 of them on the field.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ultras are going to try and make a big stand here. Well, not even a big stand. They're going to get aggressive here in just a bit. Maru's trying to roll through and continue denying this creep, position himself just outside of it. He gets too far on it, it's going to be a little bit of an issue. Oh, nice job bungling all of the frontline units. Backs away. Oh, needs to watch out for those siege tanks. Throws away a lot of infestors there. A little bit careless, but it's not even going to matter because the Ultras are now coming in from behind. The last tanks are falling. Maru's actually just down to 90 supply. His opponent reproducing 3 more Ultras, making 28, now 34 more lanes.
Maru is doing a very good job of cutting these Ultras, but yeah, it's 200 supply right now to just 94. Maru in the final moments of his life here in this game, and I'm waiting for Jaedong to bring up a queen and drop some new creep tumors because he's done it all game long, folks. There it is. GG from Maru.
And Evil Geniuses, ladies and gentlemen, they defeat Prime. They go 2-1 in their group. They have all but locked up a spot in the playoffs. EG with 2 incredible performances in 2 days against FXO and Prime. Congratulations to them.
Absolutely, man. And congratulations to Jaedong for sealing it out there because Maru is quite an opponent and definitely could have brought things back.
All right, so a 5-3 win for Evil Geniuses tonight. That's going to be all for our broadcasting. We'll be back tomorrow with more IPTL action. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, we are taking all suggestions for the new year here at IPL, so please do tweet at us. I'm at Kevinaki. He's at Kibbles. The IPL is at IGNProLeague. That is going to be it for us tonight, though. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great one.
Take care.